Put that phone down and turn off every single distraction around you for the next 20 minutes, because if you don't, you are going to miss the single most important financial lesson of your life. I don't care if you're a student, a barista, or a junior analyst. You have been sold a devastating lie about what it takes to build real wealth. The lie is that you need a lot of money to start. That is poison, and it's keeping you poor. My name is Your Name Channel Name, and my entire philosophy is built on the non-nonsense, brutal financial truth that made Kevin O'Leary a self-made millionaire. What I'm about to give you is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is the exact mathematical blueprint to systematically turn your first $500 into $1 million. But you have to listen and you have to act. Before we dive into the one strategy that changes everything, you need to do one thing for me right now. At the 30-second mark of this video, I want you to hit that subscribe button. Do it, because the people who follow this channel don't just watch, they execute, they build, they become wealthy, and you're about to become one of them. Subscribe now. Here's the brutal truth that nobody in the financial media wants to tell you. You are being programmed for financial failure from day one. You think the problem is your salary. It's not. You think the problem is the economy. It's not. The problem is your blueprint. The conventional wisdom is a trap designed to keep you as a consumer, not an owner. Let me ask you a question, and I want you to be honest with yourself. What do you do when you manage to save $500 or $1,000? You feel a little pride, and then you put it in a savings account earning 0.1% interest, while inflation eats 3% of it every year. Or worse, you see it as extra money and you spend it. You are slowly bleeding out. It's like trying to fill a bathtub with a thimble while the drain is wide open. You are focused on the thimble, your paycheck, and you're ignoring the wide open drain. The villain here isn't just your habits, it's the entire system. Banks pay you peanuts on your savings so they can lend it out at 18% on credit cards. The classic advice of just save more is a dead-end street when your money is losing purchasing power by the minute. And don't get me started on the so-called lottery ticket mentality of buying meme stocks or crypto based on hype. That's not investing. That's gambling your seed capital. And when you lose, you believe the lie that you just didn't have enough to start with. Here's the painful math of your current reality. Let's say you save that $500 in a high yield savings account at 1% in 30 years with no further contributions. It becomes $674, a pathetic $174 of profit. But adjusted for a modest 3% inflation, that $674 has the buying power of just $277 today. You lost money, you worked, you sacrificed, and you lost. Now multiply that feeling by every single $500 you ever save. That feeling of being stuck, of running in place, of watching goals like home ownership or financial freedom slip further away. That is the direct cost of following the broken blueprint. I've seen it 1,000 times. The person who gets a $5,000 tax refund and buys a new TV, the person who leaves their 401k in a low-yield money market fund for decades, they are following the script written for them. They think they're being responsible, but they are quietly, systematically being left behind. The window of time you have for compound interest to work its miracle is your most valuable non-renewable asset. And right now you are watching it close. So what's the solution? It's not about working harder. It's about a complete mental shift from being a saver to being an owner. You don't get rich by saving dollars that are decaying. You get rich by owning assets that create more dollars. Kevin O'Leary's entire fortune is built on this one non-negotiable principle. Your money must work harder for you than you work for it. I'm going to give you the exact framework to make that happen. Starting with just $500. This isn't speculation. This is the engineering of wealth broken down into 3 actionable sequential commandments. These are the 3 assets you must build in this exact order. This is the architecture that turns your first $500 into your first million. What are these 3 critical assets? That's exactly what I'm about to show you. This is the same progression used by every self-made investor I respect. It eliminates risk, builds confidence, and establishes a wealth creation machine that runs automatically. Before we dive into the first one, I need to see that you're committed. If this is making sense to you, if you're finally seeing the trap you've been in, hit the like button right now. Let me see that engagement. It tells me you're not just watching, you're ready to change. 1, the first asset is the unbreakable foundation. This is not a stock. This is not a crypto coin. This is your personal financial fortress. You cannot build a skyscraper on mud, and you cannot build wealth on a foundation of debt, desperation, and monthly panic. The unbreakable foundation is an asset you build within yourself and your finances. It has one purpose: to make you financially unshakable so you can invest with courage, not fear. Why does this matter first? Because without it, you are a gambler, not an investor. If your car breaks down and you have to pull money from your investments to fix it, you've just destroyed your compound interest engine. You've sold low, you've incurred taxes, and you've reset the clock. Wealthy people do not invest their rent money. They invest their excess capital. This foundation creates that excess and protects it. It's the asset that allows all other assets to grow. Here's how it works with your $500. You do not touch a single stock market index fund until this step is complete. Your first $500 and the next several thousand you save goes into a specific, boring, high yield savings account. This is your liquidity war chest. The goal is to build this to cover 3 to 6 months of your absolute bare bones living expenses. This money is not for vacations. It is not for a new phone. It is for survival level emergencies only. Job loss, medical deductible, essential car repair. This money buys you the most valuable thing in finance: time and options. Implementation is brutal and simple. You automate it. The day you get paid a fixed percentage, aim for 20%, is automatically transferred from your checking account into the separate untouchable savings account. You do not wait to see what's left over. You pay your future self first. You treat this transfer as the most important bill you have. You use apps or separate banks to make it slightly inconvenient to access, adding friction to prevent impulsive spending. The common mistake, people skip this. They think, I'll start investing now and build my emergency fund later. That is a catastrophic error. One small crisis will force you to liquidate your investments, proving to yourself that investing doesn't work and you'll quit. This foundation is what allows you to stay in the game for decades. Without it, you will fail. Now, once this foundation is being built, you are ready for the engine of wealth. Two, the second asset is the permanent ownership machine. This is where your money starts working 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. This is not a stock pick. This is not timing the market. This is the systematic, relentless acquisition of the greatest wealth created, aiding machine in human history, a globally diversified portfolio of productive companies. Kevin O'Leary calls it owning the world. You are buying cash flowing assets, not lottery tickets. Why does this matter? Because this asset turns your active income, your salary from your labor, into passive growing capital. The wealthy don't just have jobs. They own the businesses where other people have jobs. You may not be able to buy Google outright, but you can own a piece of it. You own a share of its profits, its innovations, and its global reach. This machine harnesses the power of global economic growth, innovation, and compound interest. Your tiny piece of ownership grows as the world grows. Here's how it works with specific numbers. Once your liquidity war chest is being funded on autopilot, every single additional dollar you save gets funneled here. You're going to buy a low-cost, broad market index fund like an S&P 500 ETF, exchange-rated fund. Let's take that initial $500, you invest it in this fund. Historically, the S&P 500 has returned about 10% annually on average. At that rate, with no other contributions, that single $500 becomes over $8,700 in 30 years, which you're not going to stop. You're going to add $100 a month. Now do the math. $500 initial plus 100S a month for 30 years at 10% equals over $217,000 from saving $100 a month. That's the power of the machine. Implementation is non-negotiable. You open a brokerage account. Many have zero commissions and zero minimums. You set up an automatic investment plan for the same day your paycheck hits. You buy the same broad market ETF every single month, no matter if the news says the market is up, down, or sideways. This is called dollar cost averaging. You are becoming a forced buyer of productive assets. You are not allowed to check the price daily. You are not allowed to panic sell. Your only job is to feed the Mackie. The common mistake, trying to be clever, picking individual stocks, chasing hot sectors, listening to tips. You are not smarter than the collective intelligence of the market. Your goal is not to beat the market. Your goal is to own the market with near zero fees and let time do the heavy lifting. This machine is boring. It is relentless and it creates millionaires. Now you have a foundation and an engine. You are ready for the accelerator. Three, the third asset is the accelerated knowledge compound. This is your mind. This is the asset that multiplies the returns of your first two assets exponentially. You cannot outperform your own knowledge. The permanent ownership machine gets you to the baseline of wealth, the first 100,000, the first million. The accelerated knowledge compound is what allows you to strategically allocate capital to seize disproportionate returns without gambling. This is where you move from passive index owner to strategic investor. Why does this matter last? Because it requires capital and stability to practice effectively. You don't learn to perform surgery on a live patient, and you don't learn concentrated investing with your rent money. With your foundation secure and your machine humming, you now have the psychological safety and capital to use a small, specific portion of your portfolio. I'm talking 5-10 to deliberately educate yourself through controlled, calculated investment. This is how you go from average returns to exceptional returns. Here's how it works. Once your core portfolio is on autopilot, You allocate a learning fund. This is capital you are 100% prepared to lose, treating it as tuition for your financial education. With this fund, you do deep fundamental research. You read 10K annual reports. You analyze industries you understand from your own career or life. You look for companies with durable competitive the advantages, strong balance sheets, and shareholder friendly management, the very principles Kevin O'Leary uses. Then you make a concentrated bet based on that work. The goal is not the money. The goal is the feedback loop. Win or lose, you learn why. You internalize valuation, market cycles, and emotional discipline. Implementation is rigorous. You keep an investment journal. For every decision, you write down your thesis. I am buying X because of Y, and I will sell if Z happens. You review it quarterly. You are not day trading. You are taking a business owner's perspective. This process sharpens your mind, teaches you to tune out noise, and gives you the confidence to make bigger, smarter moves with your core capital later. This is how you potentially identify the next great asset class or company before the crowd. The common mistake, doing this first or with too much capital, that's gambling. The other mistake is never doing it at all, remaining entirely passive and missing the opportunity to develop the judgment that creates outsized wealth. This asset, your educated judgment, is what separates the comfortably retired from the genuinely wealthy. You now have the complete triad, the foundation, the machine, and the compound. Now let's put this all together into a concrete step-by-step battle plan. This is not theoretical. This is exactly how you deploy your capital starting today. Forget the million for a moment. Let's walk through your first $10,000. This is the exact sequence. Phase one, the fortress, months 0 to 6. Your entire focus is building the unbreakable foundation. If you have $10,000 today, the first $5,000 goes immediately into your high yield savings liquidity war chest. Your next $5,000 of savings continues to go here until you hit your target 3 to 6 months of essential expenses. You automate a 20% transfer from every paycheck. You do not invent. Stay single dollar in the market during this phase. Your asset here is sleep at night security. Phase two, the machine launch, month 7 onward. Once your foundation target is hit, you shift your automated 20% savings flow. Now it goes directly into your brokerage account to buy the permanent ownership machine. That remaining $5,000, it gets invested as a lump sum into a low-cost S&P 500 ETF. Then every single month, your automated contribution buys more shares. You set this and you forget the portfolio. You check it once a year for rebalancing only. Your asset here is automatic passive ownership. Phase three, the accelerator. Once machine hits $25,000, only when your core index portfolio reaches a meaningful base. Let's say $25,000, only when your core index portfolio reaches a meaningful base. You activate the final asset. You then allocate 5% of your total portfolio, $1,250 in this case, to your accelerated knowledge compound. This is your learning fund. You use it to practice deep research and make 1 or 2 concentrated investments per year, journaling every step. This fund grows not just from returns, but from your annual contributions and as a percentage of your now growing total portfolio. The timeline is everything. Year 1 is for the foundation. Years 2-10 are for relentless automated feeding of the machine. Years 10 plus are where the accelerator begins to materially impact your net worth. This is the blueprint. It is slow, then it is fast, it is boring, then it is exhilarating. It transforms you from someone who has money to someone whose money has a system. Too many people watch a video like this, nod their heads in agreement, and then close the tab and go back to their lives. They become part of the statistics I showed you earlier. Every single day you delay starting this process is a day where compound interest works against you instead of for you. Let me be brutally clear. Inflation is not taking a day off. It is silently eroding the purchasing power of every dollar sitting in your checking account right now. That $500 you have saved, it's a decaying asset. The window of time you have, your most powerful investing advantage, is closing with every sunset. The people who will be financially free in 10, 20, 30 years are not smarter than you. They are not luckier. They simply started the engine today while others were waiting for the right time or the perfect amount. You will face obstacles. You'll tell yourself you need to wait until you have $5,000 or until the market drops or until you get that next raise. Those are lies your brain tells you to avoid the discomfort of change. The market has crashed dozens of times and always recovered to new highs. Raises get spent. The perfect time does not exist. The only thing that matters is the decisive action you take in the next 24 hours to set up your first automated transfer to open that brokerage account. The cost of inaction is a future of scarcity, limitation, and dependency. The reward for action is ownership, autonomy, and freedom. The choice is binary, and it is yours right now. Your journey starts with 3 actions in the next 60 seconds. First, hit that like button right now. That tells the algorithm this content has value. And it allows me to bring this vital non-nonsense education to more people who are stuck in the financial trap. Second, subscribe to this channel, become a permanent member of this community. We are not spectators here. We are builders. Every video I create is designed to give you another tool, another mental model to dismantle the broken system and build real lasting wealth. Hit subscribe and join us. Third, leave me a comment. I want you to make a public commitment. Write this. My first step is building my foundation, or I am funding my machine. That act of typing it out creates accountability. It moves this from an idea to a contract with yourself. I read these comments. This community reads them. We are here to see you succeed. And finally, hit that notification bell. You do not want to miss what's coming next. I break down the specific funds, the exact account types, and the psychological tricks to stay the course when everyone else is panicking. I believe in this system because it is built on mathematics and human behavior, not hype. More importantly, I believe in you. I believe you have the intelligence to understand this and the discipline to execute it. The path to a million starts with a single definitive choice. Make that choice now. Join the thousands of others who are already building their future the right way. I'll see you in the next.